Hello again, folks. It's Brian Bennett. Tell you a few stories from my Badsey boy book. But first of all, just a message to any clubs out there or anybody like that would like me to come and tell a few stories. The information's up there. Just give me a bell or send me an email, whatever. I'm sure we can come to some arrangement. I'm going to tell you a few stories now. One or two are not from my book, but they are funny. The first one is about Tony Skinner and his daughter. Tony Skinner phoned me up one night and said, "It's just before the John Smith's final. Fancy having a walk along the river, Benny?" I said, "Yeah, all right then." And it just happened that the workmen had been repairing their road where I live, and all the drains were stuck out the road and the manhole covers were all raised, and it was a sort of like, to get round everything, it was a bit windy. And Tony turned up in this little black car, two-door car, and he gets out and I get in the back of the car behind him and he sets off at a terrific rate. We got about 10 yards and all of a sudden I hadn't even got my seatbelt on. Fucking car's got up in the air. I'm like hit my head on the roof and I've gone straight over to the front of the seats. And the three of us ended up in the front of the car in the right angle. I got my head between his daughter's legs. What had happened, the bottom of the car, the drive shaft, had caught on a raised manhole cover, lift the back of the car straight up in the air, and we were stuck in the air. We was all tangled in the front of this car. All the neighbours came out taking pictures. God, it was so bloody funny. I just thought you'd like to hear about that one. I've got a story about Ben Drake. Ben Drake is a good friend of mine. He lives in Newbury. Big house, got his fishing lake in the front of the house. It's only got about 15 pegs on it. Lovely. Full of fish. And he phoned me up and he asked me if I'd go and give his team a talk. Well, naturally I said, yeah, of course I would. He said, don't bring any money because your money's no good down here. He said, you stay at my house, we'll feed you. Not a problem. I said, yeah, I'm coming. So I went down on this Friday. Never been to his house before. Pulled into his drive. There's 4 Alsatians. And I stopped by his house and there was one by each door. I thought I ain't getting out of there. So I blasted the horn. And he came out of the house. He said, what's the matter with this? These bloody dogs want to hurt you. And he called the dogs and they've gone wandering off. So I gets out the car. As soon as I get the car, these dogs was all around me. He said, they're okay, they want to hurt you. I was like, yeah, I believe you. And these dogs followed me all the way into the house. I sat at the table and these dogs were laying all around me. Never moved. We had stew and dumplings. I remember it well. And I went upstairs to the room where I was sleeping that night. The dogs followed me. And I put all my stuff away and went down and we went off to this pub. And it was a nice evening. Plenty of Strongbow. Too much Strongbow, if I'm honest. Did the talk and then it was the usual thing. Benny sat in the corner telling stories. We got home about 1:30 at night. I was a bit pissed, to be honest. And went up to my room and the dogs followed me upstairs and they all lay outside the bedroom door. And I've got into bed and I've been in bed about 20 minutes and I thought, God, I want to piss. I gets up, open the door, and as soon as I open the door, these 4 dogs all stood up. I thought, fuck that, I ain't going out there. So I shut the door. I thought, oh, I gotta have a piss. No bathroom, no sink. Nothing I could piss in. I thought, oh, I'm going to have this. So I opened the window, got a stool, stood on the stool. I pissed at the window. The relief. The relief, you couldn't believe it. So I get into bed. I've been in bed about an hour. Back on the stool, out the window. And this happened about 4 times during the night. Opened the bedroom door in the morning, there they were, my 4 friends. So it takes me back downstairs and there's a full English waiting for me on the table. Dogs all around me. I thought, it's the last time I come to this fucking place. So anyway, Ben's gone off to work and I goes outside with his wife. And as I got outside, I looked out to my right and there's 4 silver dog bowls. And all 4 of them are full of this strongbow piss. I thought, yes, revenge is mine. I thought you'd like that one. Yes. Now, my wife, before we got married, used to live in a village about 5 miles away from where I lived. And I had a motorbike. And the road from where she lived to where I lived was all country roads with bends and S-bends and very dark. No lighting at all. Well, I was coming home this one night, it was about 12:30 at night on my motorbike. And I went round the S-bend, and as I've gone round the first bend, I could see these lights. They'd gone down through the edge, down by the brook, by the side of a bridge. I could see these lights, and I thought, I've got to stop, so I stopped. Gets off my motorbike, takes my helmet off, goes down, crawls down to the bank to this car to see if there was anybody in there. I've looked in the passenger seat of this car and this woman turned around to drink. Help me! Frightened me to fucking death. Scared the shit out of me. I've run up the bank, jumped on my motorbike, never even put my helmet on. Got as fast as I could to the phone box, because I'd only got one phone box in the village there. Phoned the ambulance, phoned the police, phoned the fire brigade. And I stood there on the main road and waited to hear them. I could hear them coming. And they all flew past me. Never did find out who it was. But I hope they were okay. But I'm just saying that if you are watching this, you frightened me to death. I didn't know that. Another time I got frightened. This was frightened about physical violence. We were fishing at Mastilbury on the Avon, and I drew the stump, a peg they call the stump, because there was a big stump on the far bank that held some chub. And the bloke above me, I ain't got a clue who it was, bloke above me, kept running his float past the stump, but I was having to wait to cast in, so I shouted, "Oi! Get your float out of my peg." "I'm not in your fucking peg," he shouts. I said, "Get out my peg." So anyway, it went on and he kept running his float through. And I was getting pissed off and I thought, right, you fuck. I said, "If you don't get your float out of your peg, I'm going to rip it off." "I ain't in your fucking peg," he said. So I thought, right, you bastard. Pick the feeder rod up. Next time his float comes through, he peg over the top. Fucking rip the fucking float off. I saw his rod hit the water. I could hear him stamping around. Now I'm 12 foot from the top of the bank to my peg, right? So it's high. I could hear this bloke coming along the bank in his wading, and I could fucking hear him staring. I could hear him fucking muttering. And he stood at the top of the bank. And I'll be honest with you, It's the scariest sight I've ever seen. This bloke was like fucking Adonis. He got muscles in his piss. He got fucking arms on him like Schwarzenegger. Stood there, he fucking shaking. He said, I suppose I was coming a bit too far. He said, sorry mate. Walked off. Oh fucking hell. I thought I was going to die that day. That was Johnny Ellis. If anybody remembers John, poor John. He was a big lad. We got to the payout and John picked me up and he swung me round. He said, you little bugger. He said, that was my best stick float I lost. Good old John. I love John to bits, mate. Yeah, we had some good times at Stay Airport, me and John. And yeah, good friend. But there you go. It wouldn't be right if I didn't tell you about Lee Morris. I got to mention Lee Morris because he's a good friend of mine. And I haven't mentioned him through all these stories, so I thought I'd better give him a quick mention. We went to Oxford to fish, when we both fished for the Starlets, I think. Anyway, it don't matter. We were fishing this team match, and we were both in the same section. I can't remember what section it was, it don't matter. But to get to the river, you had to go down this single track concrete road. It went on forever, this road. And Lee being Lee, we're fucking hammering down this fucking road. And it's only room for one car. And he's hammering it. And I'm hanging on. And he's looking at me and laughing. I said, slow down, slow down. He said, it's okay, we got anti-lock brakes. Fucking hell. 30 seconds later, we're in the ditch. Spun round in a fucking circle, right in the ditch. We're all tackling this fucking nets and fucking everything's all on top of us. I said, what happened to the anti-lock brakes then, mate? We got pulled out that day. Can't remember if we caught anything or not. I don't really care. It wouldn't be the same if I didn't mention my wife. My wife Diane. I love it to bits. I've been married 44 years, or 43 years, or whatever it is. It's a long time. She's embarrassed me a couple of times. Once we were at Evesham Recommend Club. We were going out, it was New Year's Eve, and I bought, in the morning, I went out and bought some crumpets. Because we hadn't had crumpets for ages and ages and ages. I said, want some crumpets for your lunch, my sweetheart? Yeah, go on then. So I did her 2 or 3 crumpets, whatever it was. And she ate these crumpets. And you got to remember this, crumpets. So we've gone out for the evening and we've gone to see Merlin, who was a local top covers band. I've mentioned them before. And in the club that night, for some reason, they'd got all the tables a long ways down the room. So if you wanted to get out, you had to struggle past everybody. And my wife's on the red wine, I'm on the strongbow. We're with a group of friends. And she's necking this red wine like it's water. And all of a sudden, she stopped, I want to eat. She picked her bag up, I want to eat. So she looked right, she looked left. Dropped down to her knees, crawled under the table, come up between these 2 blokes the other side of the table. And we're all laughing as she stood up, totters off to the toilet. Oh, it must have been 5-6 minutes later. We heard people laughing. I thought, oh Christ, what's she done now? And I knew it was her before she even walked into the room. And I could hear these people laughing. I thought, oh my God. And she walked into this big room and there's people laughing all over the place. She's only got the bloody toilet roll stuck to the bottom of her foot. And she's dragging it all the way into the room. She gets to these 2 blokes opposite me, down on her knees, under the table, comes back up. I said, you alright, my sweetheart? She said, what's everybody laughing at? So anyway, the evening continues. My wife's necking this wine and I'm on the strongbow and we're having a great time and we're on the dance floor and a slow song comes on and I grabs hold of her and we're having a slow smooch. I said, "You having a good time, my sweet?" And she just gave me one of these sort of look to it. And I had this red wine come out of her nose and it was all over my face. And it was all over this bloody shirt. God, I pushed her away. I was in a right mess. So I goes out to the toilet, cleans myself up, and she sat back down when we get to and we gets home and it's about, I don't know, 1:30, whatever it was. And I don't wear a lot when I go to bed. So I gets into bed and she sat there putting all these creams on her face and doing all this bloody wiping stuff off and whatever they do. And she sat on the side of the bed and looked at me and I thought, "Hey up, I'm in here." I thought, yes. She's looking at me, smiling. I thought, here we go. And she looked at me and she went, "Wah!" She was sick all over my chest. It was bloody warm red wine and it was disgusting. I give her a shove off the bed and she's got on the floor. I've got in the bathroom and I've cleaned myself and I've washed myself and the smell. So anyway, I've gone back into the bedroom. She's exactly where I left her on the floor. I tried to lift her up. I mean, I'm a strong bloke and I tried to lift her up and she was just a dead weight. I couldn't lift her. So, oh hello, message. So I've gone and got my daughter out of bed and she's a weightlifter. And I said, "Give us a hand with your mother, will you?" She said, "What's the matter with her?" I said, "Just give us a hand." And she walked in and my wife's lay there in a crumpled heap. And my daughter, she must have been 19 at the time, looks at me, "Mother!" Just like that, proper old fashioned. We tried to lift her up and between us we couldn't lift her up. And my missus said, leave me, so I did. My daughter's gone to bed. I've left her on the floor. I've covered her up with a big bath towel. Another message. Covers her up with a big towel, gets into bed, goes to sleep. Alarm goes off, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm up, got to go fishing. I feel great. I'm all right. I'm going down the ferry, big breakfast. I walk round the bed, and there she is, lay there. I said, "You all right, my sweet?" No answer, so I give her a bit of a kick. I said, "Hey, you okay?" And she lifted her head, and she'd got the chicken wing going on in her hair where she'd been sick in the night. And all her hair was stuck out like a chicken wing. Oh, another message. I am popular. And I said, "You all right?" That's all I got. So I left her. Went fishing. I won that day. Unusually. I get home. And Sunday, no dinner. What's going on? I goes upstairs. My wife sat in bed with the kids either side of her. She's reading them a book. I said, "You okay, sweetheart?" And she turned to me and said, "I'm never eating crumpets again." Nothing to do with the 2 bottles of wine she drank. It was 2 crumpets. Ah, bless her. Do you know when you've done something and you know you shouldn't have done it, but you've done it anyway, and it's too late? Well, in our village when I was a kid, right in the middle of the village, right in the centre, we had this big conker tree, massive conker tree. And there were some houses behind the conker tree. And conkers back then was a big thing. You know, drill a hole in them and put them on a string. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and all this. Well, I hadn't had a very good season with the old conkers. And I was stood by this tree. And right on the outside of this branch, about 3/4 way up this tree, was the biggest conker I'd ever seen. I thought, right, I'm going to have you. Now, me being me, like normal kids would have a stick. Me, chair leg, right? Takes aim at this conker. Let's fly with all my might. It's flying through the air. I'm thinking, oh shit. Oh no, shit, no, please, no. And I heard it straight through this window of this house. Oh, fuck. There's glass shattering and I'm on my bike and I've got up the village. I'm in trouble again. And I get up the village and I thought I'd go wide, so I go down the brook as I walk on the brook. And I know I'm going to get about him when I get home. And I'm hiding under the bridge, it's got dark and... Hello, they're searching for me. Hello. And all these people are searching for me and Bernard Major finds me under the bridge at Badsey Brook. He says, come on, young Bennett, get out of there, you got to face the music. So I called out and he sort of like got his arm around me because we've been walking up to my house. I thought he was comforting me, but I think it was so that I didn't run away again. You know what I mean? Takes me out, takes me home, walks at me house and all the other people were there and me dad's there and lay on the table is my chair leg. You want to know how they knew it was my chair leg now, don't you? I'd only got my name on it, hadn't I? The things we do. Yeah, I did get about it after when everybody got home. And I had to work through the summer to pay for the window. But looking back at it, it was funny looking back at it. Colin Bennett. Grandad. Colin Bennett is a lovely bloke. Back in the day, he was big. He won't mind me saying he was fucking huge. But he was a lovely bloke, good fisherman, good angler. And we were at Morden's farm one Saturday afternoon watching the match. We sat on the bank and Colin's sat there and all of a sudden he lies down. He lifted his head, he looked left and he looked right. He looked at me and he said, if anybody comes along here with a harpoon, he said, tell them it's me. We were sat in the pub one night and Colin had got this reputation for catching barbel on the Severn. And he used to catch them all over the place and get them out ever so quick. And in all seriousness, I have to say, I said to him this one day in the pub, Colin, how did you manage to get these barbel out so quick? He looked round like that and he says, I'll tell you, but I promise you won't tell anybody else. I said, I promise, mate, I won't. I'm all ears thinking he's going to tell me something good here. He said, I use a 3-ounce lead with a 2-inch hook length. I said, yeah. And he says, will I get a bite? He said, I strike so hard the lead comes round, smacks him on the head, stuns him, and I reel him in. I got arrested one night getting worms. On the top of the bank where I live. I'm out there. It's about 12:30 at night with a light and a bucket getting worms up by the big houses up the top of the town. And I hear these sirens coming. I see these sirens in the distance. I thought somebody's in trouble. And I'm carrying on getting my worms. All of a sudden there's two police cars, one either side of me. And they got me. They got me arms behind my back, handcuffs. I said, what are you doing? They said, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting worms, can't you see? They said, what do you mean getting worms? I said, look, I've got a torch in the bucket. And in this bucket I've got all these worms. Well, we've had information you're a suspicious character. I'm getting fucking worms, mate. Well, they released me and told me to, discreetly, they told me to go away and look somewhere else for my worms. What we're going to tell you about next? I'll tell you about a story called The Biggest Frying Pan in the World. I went to Anastasia shop one day and I said, can you get some blokes together and we'll go sea fishing? I said, I can get 12. How many can you get 12? And he said, yeah, I'll get 12. So I arranged for two of us, two boats, to go out conger fishing. And it was out of Swansea or down that way. So we've gone, this is like when you go conger fishing, you go at night. So it was on a Saturday. We were going out Saturday night, come home Sunday. So we've arranged to get down there for 12 o'clock at lunchtime, which was a big mistake. We've got down at 12 o'clock in the pub. All day. It gets to 9 o'clock at night. We'd all had plenty to eat. Steak and chips, fish and chips, all sorts of stuff. We gets down to the dock and these two boats are waiting for us. Down the ladder onto the boats. Off we go out to sea. And we get out there and the first thing they did was put Chubby Brown CD on. And the other boat was close to our boat and they could hear everything that was going on, all these Chubby Brown jokes. And everybody's laughing and the skipper's there and he's giving us all rods and setting us up and telling us what to do. And we're out there and it's pitch black and Chubby Brown's making us all laugh, and one by one they're disappearing downstairs. Well, not downstairs, down the stairs into the bottom of the boat. And it's gone on, and at the end, like say 2:30 in the morning, I'm the only one left fishing. Everybody else downstairs asleep in the bottom of the boat. 3 o'clock in the morning, skipper of our boats, he gets his frying pan out, the biggest frying pan you've ever seen in your life. Bangs his frying pan, bang, 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 and all these blokes wake up. He said, who wants breakfast? £3 each. And they all said, yeah, well, I'll have one. I thought, I ain't having one. The old boat's doing this. I thought, yeah, I ain't having one. So he's got all these sausages and bacon and black pudding, and it's all in this big frying pan. And he starts breaking these eggs. He's got beans cooking, he's got tomatoes cooking, he's got mushrooms, and it's all in this massive, great big frying pan. And he dishes all these breakfasts up, £3 each. They all need getting these in breakfast down. I thought, yeah, I thought, yeah, I know what's coming here. So I'm back up top, and I continue to fish. Didn't catch anything, but it was just, we went fishing, so I was fishing. So I'm fishing away, and they all comes upstairs. Oh, that's better. I feel better now. I've had something to eat. And they all start fishing again. The old boat's doing this. And I thought, yes, any minute now. Any minute. And the first one, and there's fucking bits of egg and tomatoes and sausage all over the fucking boat. And he was sick. Then the next one, and then everybody was, and there's fucking boats doing this, and there's egg and beans and tomatoes sloshing all over the boat. And one by one they disappeared back down into the bottom of the boat. And I'm left there on my own, and I'm stood in all this sick and this all splashed. But we had a good time. It was good. It was okay. We had a good laugh. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've made you chuckle. Don't forget, if you want me to come to your club, give me a shout, and we'll discuss terms. I'm very competitive, and I'm sure I'll make you laugh. Cheers, folks. Don't forget, COVID's still out there. Don't forget, COVID is still out there. Wear your mask. Stay safe. Cheers.